Good morning. Welcome back to Papa's Custom Cars. Today we're going to finish up the outlet box for the EV. We're also going to add a 50 amp plug. I'm going to wire that in today, and then also the 20 amp. I've got these neat connectors made by Electric. They're multi-cable connectors, heavy duty. Definitely will support up that 6 gauge we've got. And then to support the outlet, because it will be a 50 amp circuit, we definitely don't want to pop our breaker at 50 amps. And on the advice of someone, I didn't even think about it, but we're going to add a 20 amp breaker inside the box for that 120 amp outlet. It's a rail system. It's kind of cool. You screw the rail into the box, and then you just snap these bad boys into place, and you hook the wires up, and boom, you've got a circuit breaker in the second location. So it's kind of basically making that into a sub panel. So that's what I'm going to be working on today, just to finish it up. As you see, I'm wearing my hat and my heavy shirt. The snow and cold has hit Utah, and even though my garage is heated, it still gets cold out here because concrete just doesn't hold that heat the way we'd like it to. So that's what we're going to be doing this afternoon, or this morning, I should say, this afternoon, whatever it is. That's what we're going to be doing today in hopes that we get that finished up. And I've got all my outlets in place for welders and all that kind of fun stuff. And then I'm going to take a break. I'm going to run over to Lowe's. I've got to order a heater for the garage. There is heat and air in here, but there are only 2 small vents that heat this area, so it only gets to be about 60 degrees. So that's another thing we're going to work on, and this weekend is adding more heat and making it a little more comfortable here in the shop. So stay tuned, and let's get to these projects. Okay, so we're back at the unit. As you notice, I put a high voltage sticker on there, just to warn anybody in the future that's messing with it. So we're going to pull the cover off. I got to put that back on there. And there's a ground wire sticking out of it for some reason. So, and then see if the breaker fits inside. I'm hoping it does. Worst case, I'll have to cut a square out for it to actually protrude out. As I said, I've just got it hardwired now to the just to the charger itself. Power is turned off. One of the main things I can tell you is turn the frickin' power off. Be very careful. Double check it 12 times so you don't kill yourself trying to do anything with electrical. So this is going to have to be cut back. The white is going to be going to this outlet and to the 110. I can go ahead and pull everything out of there. Then we also need to run a ground wire to our box and finish that up. So these 2 will tie together, and that's about these 2 and then the box for our commons. All of our grounds will tie into back here. Like I say, I've got to strip this all back. I don't need that much wire hanging out. So we'll go ahead and pull that all loose. We'll be replacing a lot of this stuff with the new type connectors. The only nut we're going to use is this one for the whites and the commons. So using my trusty stepladder behind me as a and I broke down and bought monsters because I didn't have any, and I was tired of trying to cut wire with my tin snips. It definitely takes all the fun out of it. And it fits inside there just fine. So I'll probably mount it about right there. Right above that. And of course we've got our new connectors. Our big connectors, and I'll show you more of those as we go. So first things first, you need to go ahead and cut this back, strip it down. I need to put that little rubber grommet on here. It'll be pretty easy to do. And in the meanwhile, my Chrysler 300's battery went dead. No idea why yet, but we'll cross that bridge here in a little bit. These are super cool. The way that these work is, you see there's dielectric grease in them, and they've got little Allen screws. Take the little top off, and you got a little screw inside. You put your large cables in, and they tie to each other. So that's how you connect them. So you'll put one cable here, one cable here, one cable here. That'll be in from the power I'm going to put in the middle, and then from the two sides I'll run the power out to the unit, the charge unit, and the other one to the 50 amp. So I only need two of these. Thank goodness. These things are 20 bucks a piece, so that kind of tells you. So let's go trim this little bar, because you trim it to the size that you want. I'm probably going to leave it a little bit long, just because I may want to add another breaker to it later. So, and then we've got our outlets already in here and already pre-wired with my grounds up. Black, of course, goes to your breaker. White goes to your common. As I said, I've got the ground also grounding to this box. It'll be grounded to this box. So always, anytime you're using metal boxes, always ground to the box. I say I still got to get the plugs for these, but I'm not really worried about it at this point. So now let's measure out our rail. We're going to be, can we get that hole? Yeah. We're going to go between these two right here. So let's go. So to cut this, we're going to use my favorite tool. Put it out far enough to where it catches both of them. Right there. We have the old trusty saw. I don't know how I got along without one of these. The way these work is they lock onto the rail just like so. And they just sit on that rail. Let me show you real quick. To loosen it, you have to pull that down. You can pull it down with a screwdriver from back here. This just locks it onto the rail, like so, and then you lock it, and it stays put. And you can put, multiples on here if you want to. We're not going to. We're just going to run this one for this 110 outlet. Thanks, Joe, for that tip. I would never thought about it. Okay, like I said, I've got to strip this one back because this is way, way more than I need. Okay, now red, red, and red. Start putting our wires together. And let me go grab this and go grab, see if my screwdriver works on it. Nope, it works. Okay. So we've got these little tiny caps we got to pull off. And then expose the screws. Set the caps up here for now. Then you just put your wire in all the way. And there's already dielectric grease in here and everything. Oh yeah, that's a nice... Wow, that's kind of cool. I like that. Oh, there's another piece of... Cut that off. And the only thing you do after that is you put your caps back in again. And that way there's absolutely no metal exposed. Make sure you don't cut these too long so that there's anything hot sticking out. Now, one of the things I do need to do is get a short one for this one. Because we're going to have to come out of this box into the breaker, out of the breaker, and we're going to connect into the black. Whoever invented that, you should be congratulated. All right, let me go grab a short... I do need to snip this back just a tiny bit. Because if you watch, if I put it in, it's sticking out a little tiny bit. I just don't like anything sticking out, so I'll just nip a tiny bit off of it. Now, I'm going to go ahead and move that over. Put our breaker in place. Nice and cozy. Put the top in first, and the bottom, and then lock her in. And voila. That's it. She's in there. Now they can slide a little bit, but usually they don't because that little bottom one will hold them in place pretty well. You can get these things up to 1/0 wire, I think 0. Because they use them on heavier connections than this. That's kind of why I figured this is a good way to do it, because if it'll support a main cable coming into a home, then by goodness, it'll work well for this. The only thing we got left is our white. Like I said, that only goes to a couple different places. I'm going to pull this out of the way. The things you do for an electric car. Put your plugs back in. That way you have nothing exposed. If you want to make it better, you could wrap it all with electrical tape, but they're in there. As long as you don't strip your wire back too far, you're in there quite a bit, so it's not too tough. Then we can put our breaker back on, lock it in place, and voila. Okay, and like I say, the whites are all going to connect. That common only goes to the outlet and to the 50 amp down here. Everywhere else doesn't have one. Ta-da. Yeah, new big pliers. I was going to buy some wire strippers for the big wires, but they didn't have any. You kind of have to deal with what they got, unfortunately. And I know that these would be better, but at 19 bucks a pop, since I wasn't running, I didn't need 3 of them to plug in, just the 2 and this little one, I'm good with this. And of course, we got our common tie-in here, twisted together, run into here and here. I could run them all in one wire nut, but why when you can use your box as a common? So we got them twisted together here, running from this one to this one. So now everybody's grounded and everybody's in the pool. Push this down below these hots and out of the way. Now we've got our whites, one here, and everything else running into here. We've got our breaker shut down. Let's bend this a little bit back so it's out of the way. And that's it. Our box is done. And like I said, here's our breaker for the 110. So thank you, Joe, for that hint. Got me looking for something. These rails are kind of neat. I really like it. Now let me lock that in. Okay. So she stays put. All right. Now let's go turn on the power and make sure we're okay. Okay. Everything's powered up. No issues. That's our breaker for that. That's hot now. So everybody's in the pool. The only thing we got to do is walk outside, make sure that our unit is working, but we have all of our wiring in place. These are really neat. Like I said, they're a little pricey, but these are cool. I definitely like them, especially for these big cables that I've got. These 6. But these will do, like I said, you can get these in all sizes for these big cables, and that definitely solves the issue with good solid connections. And like I say, all of them have dielectric grease in them. And then you've got your cap, so you don't have to worry about any exposed metal, like you would if you had a splicer unit, I guess was what they call them. This thing definitely makes it a lot cleaner and safer, seeing as how they don't run anything that big on them. So with that, we'll take you outside and then we'll check the charger or the unit to send to the charger, and then we will be done. Okay, we are live. So we are done. Okay, we got our cover back on our box. So now we have a live 50 amp. We've got the 110, and we've got the charger hardwired into the system. So this job is done, with the exception of getting a cap for the top of that. But other than that, it is finished.